Right. I've never experienced writer's block. Quite on the contrary, my fear is when I'm on a plane right now and you get heavy turbulence. My fear is that not only will I crash, but there will be 20 novels that will crash.
And as a person?
As a person, I don't know. It's sort of, I guess my fuel for my novels was I was a very scared child. I would be physically brave, but mentally or psychologically, when it got dark, I was a very scared child. I couldn't watch horror movies. I can remember my first girlfriend. She was a tiny girl, and we went to the movies, to a horror movie. And midway through the movie, she turned to me and asked me, "Aren't you going to watch the movie?" Because I was sitting right there like this. So it's perhaps I'm afraid of going crazy. I think that would be, slipping into madness. That would be a fear. Even as a writer, because you are simultaneously writing and reading. I mean, you are so much into the story yourself that for me it was mentally hard to kill her off. But I knew I needed that sort of surprise, that sort of, I don't know what the word is it's probably a Greek word, I guess, syncope. Do you know the word? In music, when you're out of rhythm and I needed that dramatical syncope in order to tell the reader that anything can happen here. The first thing I guess you realize, looking back at novels, is that the things that is happening in your protagonist's life at the time is exactly the same thing that is happening in the writer's life. Sort of, if you're writing about your family, girlfriend, father, may not be the girlfriend, it may not be the father, it could be the mother, it could be another relative, but you are actually telling about your own life. Good question. I think that I was 19 at the time, and I thought I was going to be, it was my dream to be a professional football player. But when you're told that, okay, so you can't be a football player, you have to, there's no, I could have gone on dreaming about being a football player, but it wouldn't have helped me. So I think that when reality hits you like that, we are actually quite good at refocusing, coming up with a plan B. Okay, so my life is not going to be about soccer. What else could it be about? Well, I was interested in music. I was interested in writing, or at least in reading. I probably can't make a living or reading. I don't know what to do with my life. And what do you do when you don't know what to do? You study economics. I had a rather sad experience some years ago when I was writing a song, and I used my guitar to write songs, and I realized that I'm probably copying somebody because I've heard this song before. But it is like that with pop and rock music, that most songs have been made, right? But then I realized, oh yeah, I have made that song before. So it could be, of course, that just like with music, that your creativity and your ideas follow certain patterns. Could be that, but then it hopefully if you find that formula, please don't tell me, because that would mean I would have to stop writing books, because that was the reason I stopped writing songs. As a writer, at least for me, I find it more fruitful and that I can contribute to those discussions by asking questions. I don't think as a writer of fictions that I have any deeper insight or knowledge of these things. Of course, I talk to people that make research on in these matters. I talk to police officers. I talk to people who have immense experience in those questions. I don't think it has changed that much, really. Actually, I think that in spite of course, the Utøya massacre in Norway, which was committed by a extreme right-wing person, he didn't. It was like he didn't represent a strong movement in Norway. It wasn't like that was the inevitable because there was a tendency in the society. Actually, it was a little bit the opposite. That it was like a lightning from a clear sky. Probably in the 90s there was a stronger movement of neo-Nazis than later on in the 2000s. But of course there was an election in Norway where there's a not extreme. I mean, in any other country, what we consider the extreme right-wing party in Norway would be considered just a conservative. Probably the right fraction of the normal conservative party. They are. People say that in Norway, the whole political spectrum, they are all social democrats really at heart. It's just a little to the left and a little to the right. But they were against immigration. That has been their main or the most important issue. So.
What's Scandinavia really about?
Well, first of all, I think that when we write crime novels, of course, it's a genre. The crime is a sort of a metaphor. It's not a. The aim is not to describe the level of crime in Scandinavia. It's using a genre for literature to tell a story about the human condition, I think, but also the condition of society. Of course, this was a tradition that started in the 70s in Scandinavia with the two writers Sjöwall and Wahlöö, who would write crime novels using the crime genre to analyze and criticize society and the modern Scandinavian society. But more importantly, they sort of brought the crime novel from the kiosks and into the serious bookstores, and they sort of became the mandate for the crime writers to use the genre to comment on society. But I'd say for my writing, I am of course a part of that tradition, but I'm also part of the American tradition of the hard-boiled American detective novel. So I'm probably a combination. I don't start my books with a political agenda, which is to a certain extent probably what Sjöwall and Wahlöö did. And Stig Larsson, of course, is also writing in that tradition. Henning Mankell is writing in that tradition. I'm probably closer to the American tradition, but I do use politics and society as a backdrop for my stories. Yeah. I could tell you, but then I would have to shoot you.